wanted to give my 2 cents on just pearly things and the events that have happened, because personally I think it's hilarious that all of the red pillars, red pill women, the manosphere, they're crying these tears, they're weeping, they're sad, because she basically is who she's always been, a colorless woman. A colorless American woman at that. But Just Pearly Things is a colorless woman from America that started having these conversations with Black people, that's men and women, which were happy to be on her platform in the UK. Even when she was super disrespectful, they went on her platform and they basically bolstered her platform. She tried to get into the space, which is Black YouTube, Black social media. She was talking about hip hop at one point. She even did a video on Umar and all of that. So she had been trying to get her way into the space. And then this is the way she got in. There's always a Black person in a corner somewhere willing to open the door to a colorless person, no matter their agenda. And, you know, she is no different than any other colorless person. They use Black people as a stepping stone. The fallout has been hilarious, though. Black men thought they had a strong Thomas Jefferson in their corner. They made her successful over many of the red pill Black women that agreed with their asinine talking points. Now they are crying crocodile tears. She is being her James Madison self. They're mad because she is being a colorless person that intended to take advantage of a situation. Licking suckers, all in the manosphere and in the red pill community. And I am enjoying this. And I'm enjoying their tears with honey and lemon in my tea. I have seen some videos with her, and she is a boring, non-talented, colorless woman that is being pushed by a colorless platform and the algorithm. When I first came on this platform, I was in a very colorless sector. Don't know how I got there to this day, but I remember being introduced to Leafy, Grade A Under A, and Keemstar, even stale ass Onision. So you know I was in an extremely colorless area of this platform where you could just talk, sound colorless, and get 1 million views for that. Didn't have to do anything special. Now, when I was there, I remember it was funny as hell. It was fights between a bunch of the content creators. They were doxing people. They were snitching on each other, and it was funny. I mean, they would be on videos talking about how one content creator called another content creator so they could do this whole drama. It was made up drama so they could get views. They would do that. Also, Keemstar, who hated Leafy at the time, he did a lot of the YouTube, I guess, drama. He was like a drama channel where he would talk about what was going on and who said what. And it was funny. It was funny. That's how, when it started happening in the Black sector of YouTube, I knew what was going on because I had seen it in the extremely colorless side of YouTube. They had been on that stuff. So she's giving the same energy of some of the people in that space, like the Onision, the one who was talking about Black women's hair and how we should wash it every day and trying to tell us about our hair. That's Onision. That's the same energy that she gives. Leftover onion soup that's been sitting there for a week. But there was just a few points that I wanted to hit on because there's a lot of information out there. And one is her friend. She was on social media and she called her a liar and a fraud. Who would have guessed she's a liar and a fraud? I remember when she first popped up in the algorithm and I saw it, and then I saw that it was some type of connection to Kevin Samuels. I was like, okay, so she's trying to capitalize and she's trying to come up in the space and she's trying to get her name out there. Like, nobody knew this shit. Like, nobody knew that. The Manosphere, of course, they didn't know, because they will prop up anybody who's going to tear down black women, when that person, if they dislike black women, they are going to dislike your black ass. They don't separate the genders. They just cannot stand black people as a whole, foreign or from the US. The quote from Alex Haley, where she said she was sitting up with, what's his name, Nick, I believe, Fuentes. He's a flaming racist. Everybody knows, he said it himself that he's a flaming racist. But they were setting up talking in the interview, and she mentioned that Alex Haley said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by, which is not confirmed as a fact. This is in an article from a Christian white male podcaster called Dr. Rick Cromie. So basically, they're using movie references, and there are books and documents that you can find about slavery, and it's in the enslaved person's own words. And she was trying to say that it's not that deep. This is what I got from what she was saying, basically trying to act like slavery was a myth. You really, I mean, there's postcards of lynchings, and there's literal books and documents out there about how slavery really was. The bodies of enslaved people were dug up, and they were worked so hard that the muscle separated from the bone. There was trauma to the, I mean, gator bait is real. It's in a lot of historical artifacts. She sounds just like Mitch McConnell. I call him Bitch McConnell, but it's Mitch McConnell, because his family was a enslaving family. And that's where he got his wealth. And now he's a politician, go figure. And he said the same thing, that slavery was not so bad. They had clothes and they were fed well. Yeah. So that's where that energy is coming from. I mean, who expects anything less? And like I said, I can't confirm that Alex Haley said this. There was nothing that I could pull that would make me believe that this is something that he quoted, because it doesn't sound right. It sounds more like something that a colorless person would say, because nobody is literally going to say this is a myth. Slavery is not a myth. And a lot of people are talking about, because he plagiarized a book, and he's African and he plagiarized a book from another African person. It doesn't matter. And I don't understand. I wasn't understanding, but what I get from the complaint is that Roots is not a autobiography or a biography. And I mean, it was a movie, and I never heard, it never was said that this is an, like, step by step what happened in slavery. This was just a depiction of things that happened in slavery. That's what I've always thought Roots was. It wasn't that Kizzy was real life and she existed here, and this is a documentary about Kunta Kinte. That was never presented. Maybe it was presented to some, I don't know, but that's not how it came across to me. And it's definitely not fiction, because they would like it to be fiction. Slavery is not fiction. That's a real historical event that happened that was placed in a movie. And that's what all of the characters were based on. But it's not saying that it's a documentary or a biography or anything like that. But anyway, but a lot of people, even black people, were talking about that. You're referencing roots, but some of the things that were done in that movie are done in real life. There are several movies that you can reference where something was done that was done in real life. So I don't know where they were trying to go with that one. Roots is not some documentation of step by step how antebellum chattel slavery went. It's just influencing the story. But what they're trying to do is say slavery wasn't as bad as people try and make it out to be. It was just in the South. It was just these people. People don't talk about the Devil's Punch Bowl. They don't talk about the internment camps, the starvation and anything. And I don't care if you're white or black. If you're trying to downplay slavery, you're trying to downplay what happened, fuck you. Now, that doesn't absolve America from the greatest sin that they ever committed. And they're going to pay. They're going to pay the easy way or the hard way. It's their pick. Oh well. Now, she said Africans work harder than black Americans. Now, this is the black Americans are lazy trope. And we know she was talking about the blacks who are around her, because she even said something about her Africans. She referenced the people that work with her as her Africans. So you can tell how she feels. She does. She thinks her paleness and her colorlessness makes her better than the people that she works around. Even though, and it's very funny, they like to keep black people around, but you look down your nose at them because black people are intelligent, smart, and can get the job done. So now she's trying to put this issue between African and black Americans, right? But look, there have been some Africans who have had some things to say about black Americans. And hey, this is your fight. Go ahead and chin check her. I think it's disgusting. I don't know how you can work around someone like that. There's some African people who would prefer to be around her and her colorlessness than to be around black Americans, because they believe these quote unquote stereotypes. But they're starting to get the business, and hey, it is what it is. They can handle it how they want to. She kept looking to the side at someone, and this person was named Blessing, and she is on her team. And they were making a joke about black people being late, because Nick said something to the effect of he thought he was late coming to the show, and he was surprised that he was on time. So she kept looking to the side at someone, and that someone was Blessing. And then she basically singled her out and said, yeah, Blessing was more late. And then they made a joke saying, yeah, because she's black. And black people are late all the time, basically. They're singling out the hardworking African, saying she's late because she's black, because of her skin tone, because of the melanin in her skin made her late. Even though his pale ass is saying that he's always late. But then he's making a joke and laughing because the person has been. It's sick. It's sick. Now these incel, manosphere, red pill men propped up a bigot, prejudice, racist, colorless, James Madison, and they got their little feelings hurt because of everything that she said. Now, there is this rumor that's been put out there about her, is that they were having conversations and it got sexual, and that they were making it seem like she likes to suck, fuck, and boss her Africans around. And also, I'm going to leave the article of that white Christian male who basically this came from. And I believe that she looked at his website and took it from there, because at the end I'm going to tell you what she's doing and what she's trying to move into. But slavery, she said slavery was not that bad. One of the founding fathers was so benevolent that he didn't make any money off the farm because he cared about the enslaved people he inherited. He knew that black enslaved people wouldn't know how to get along and would die off. The enslaver has the biggest heart anyone has ever seen. And that's why he kept them enslaved, because they would die off out there. They didn't know how to get along. They wouldn't know how to do anything. So I was protecting them by keeping them enslaved. Basically, that was the story that she told about this enslaver. And then she laughed when Nick said it's gross for a colorless woman to be with a black man. And the video is out there. Basically, there she had on Nick Fuentes, and then she had this woman who was dating this black guy. And the lady, she had all the smoke for Nick. But he was saying that he thinks it's gross for her to be with who she's with. And then Just Pearly Things, which I thought she was supposed to be with a black man, she started laughing. She piggybacked off Kevin Samuels. She saw a lane to a bag and took it. The Black Manosphere males propped her up and made her famous, getting her to almost 2 million subs. They are so happy a colorless woman was agreeing, validating, and putting black women in their place until she did the unthinkable. She interviewed Nick Fuentes, the flaming colorless alt-right diehard that Kanye West befriended. Had a conversation with him. They didn't like what was said in the conversation, and now they're online just crying and mad. The red pill ratchets is what I call them. These are the red pill black women. These women blame black women for a woman that was upheld over them. The Black Manosphere and the red pill men picked her over their black ass. And now they're looking like victims in The Handmaid's Tale. They're setting up here looking like the Moor's wife that must prepare this dirty ass colorless woman whose parents sent her to the king or to him to get that ancient bag. She knew she could come to this space and that the males would open up the door for her dirty ass. She finessed these simp A ninjas and got the bag and the subs. They leave the door open for a colorless person. They invite everyone to the cookout just as long as their simp A ego can get stroked. They're dumb mofos. I saw this coming a mile away. How could you not? I've been on this platform since 2007 on my chill channel. This is rinse and repeat. I've seen this over and over, and they never get it. There are so many ninjas that talk bad about black women, screaming about the white supremacist Pearl and the white supremacist Nick Fuentes. They are seeing the light now. She knows her days were numbered talking about relationship advice and talking about women and black women. in this space. So because of her stale personality, and it's literally drying up, the space is changing, and it's really not popping like it used to be. She was dead in the water. So she is moving to content that can stand the test of time. With the new election that's coming up, and we'll have a new president around the corner, it's the perfect time to move into the Republican space, with Biden and the Democrats being unfavorable, which is why she interviewed Nick Fuentes, because she's trying to move into that space. There's a lot of black males that have moved into that Republican space, and there's more people jumping on it because the election is coming up. So it's going to be a hot button topic. It's going to be popping. So, even to the black women, if you don't have to pander, you don't have to go as far as them to prop up conservative Republican ideals. But if you move into a space where you're talking about the political stuff, because it's coming up, it's going to be talked about, this whole thing with Trump and Biden and who was that little weasel in Florida? But you know who I'm talking about, him. And that's going to be big coming up. But yeah, she basically saw an end to a bag, and she got propped up by red pill women, some red pill black women, and mostly the manosphere and their dumbass. They're never going to learn. Now they're on here crying, calling her a white supremacist, saying she's against them. And how could she? You have a few who's trying to defend her. They're trying to spin the narrative to make it seem like she's not who she is. They're still being dumb. But I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think about Just Pearly Things, aka James Madison, aka Thomas Jefferson. What do you think about the manosphere losing their shit all over social media? And I'll see you in the next one.